Okay, let's see here. What's going on, y'all? Appreciate y'all checking in on the stream. I know the Bears game is still going on, so, you know, I completely understand if you guys are watching that. But appreciate y'all checking in while the Bears are still playing. Couple things before we get started, though. I need everyone in chat right now to tell me, one, how does my mic sound? Does it sound bad at all? Because I do need to know, before I move on, because I've been having mic issues. Where like my computer just doesn't even like pick it up. So please let me know if about my mic sound. That'll help me out a ton here. Sorry. And then we'll get started into this game here and talk about it. But please, if anyone's able to, tell me how my mic sounds. I just want to know how I sound overall. If not, it's okay. Hold on. I might have to mute. I have to mute myself maybe. And then I can just listen to myself here. Give me 1 second. Sounds great. Okay, I appreciate that. Hold on. I'm gonna just mute myself and just listen to myself back once, and then just to fully make sure everything sounds right. So give me 1 second. I'll go back. Okay. Yeah. I overall sound okay. Just give me 1 second though. I do apologize about this. I'm not happy at what's been happening recently with my mic. So just give me 1 second. Come on. There we go. Okay, I made a slight tweak, but nothing too big and serious here. All right, appreciate Delbert you coming in early. Appreciate. Sorry, I can't read that over there. I don't know. Are you new? Wolf Tactical. Are you new here? I don't recognize that name. Appreciate you checking in though. I know again. Bears game is still going on, so if you do want to go watch that and then check back in on the stream, I completely understand. Go do that. I personally just am done with the Bears this year, so I don't personally want to watch the Bears lose, which means that they're going to somehow start to win this game that they're currently playing in. But Bulls pull this one out. Let me just say, this was not in good fashion. This was not pretty, and I think that we can all agree that they missed Zach down the stretch, because, dear Lord, the Bulls looked lost on offense down the stretch. The Bulls just, it seemed like there were two different, it just seemed like every other quarter was a different team. The first quarter was solid. The second quarter was awful in terms of the offensive identity. The Raptors didn't score that many points either in the second quarter, but the offensive identity just died. And there were so many bad turnovers by the Bulls in that second quarter. It was pretty upsetting to watch. And some defensive miscues, but that wasn't the big issue. The offense that we've been seeing all season just kind of went away in that second quarter, which was bad to see. Third quarter was spectacular. They got off to a great start coming out of halftime, and they looked really good in that third quarter. It's okay, they went back to what they were supposed to be doing. That fourth quarter, though, man, it just, we all know the game slows down in crunch time, but the way that without Zach there to kind of be okay, here's a guy to give him the ball if everything kind of fails on a possession, The execution down the stretch was terrible. I don't know what Kobe is in terms of his health level at the moment. Like, I don't know if he's like, maybe 85% of himself or something. But in my opinion, what should the number one play that should have been ran down the stretch was a Kobe and Vooch pick and roll. And we saw that the Bulls, just for some reason, they were trying to continuously post up Vucevic down the stretch, where they would just like run the kind of cross screen action to get Vooch on the low block and try to feed him the ball. The Raptors obviously were small, pretty much 1 through 5, so it's like, oh, the idea would be a nice matchup for Vooch. The problem is, though, is that this Raptors team is always, no matter who it's been, no matter who's on the team, they've always been really good at defending the post when they're small, because they intentionally go small because they know they can defend the post effectively. And I just was so upset that the Bulls kept running a play to post up Vooch instead of just running the simple pick and roll, which is what they should be doing. You can get a good look inside off the simple pick and roll with Vucevic. You don't need to post them up so they can get interior position. So I think part of that, the late game execution, I think part of it was on Billy. I don't like the plays that were called. I think that the Bulls went away from what they were supposed to be doing. I know that you don't have Zach, and Zach obviously is a big part of like your late game offense, but you have Kobe out there, and Kobe, as we saw last year, was very effective in these sort of situations. So I don't understand why they didn't use Kobe more. I think Kobe should have been used a lot more down the stretch, especially as a ball handler, and they kept putting Zoe in that spot, and that's a rough spot for Zoe. Now, Zoe is a very good decision maker, and I really think that Zoe, at the end of the day, it should be out there on the court as much as possible, especially late game, if he can go and play those minutes, which he went over his minutes restriction today. But I don't think Zoe needs to be the ball handler down the stretch. I understand his IQ is incredible, but it's not like Zoe is going to be like a guy that you're going to be relying on to create his own shot down the stretch either. He made that 3, which was spectacular, and he made it, but that was off a horrific possession, and he only really shoots 3s, right? So he bailed it out. He bailed the Bulls out of some pretty awful, I think, play calling down the stretch. I think execution overall by the players down the stretch. I am aware that no Zach is kind of like it's a really annoying thing to not have Zach down the stretch, but I think if Kobe's gonna ever show us like, hey, I deserve to have a bigger contract with if we're gonna re-sign him, and show that he deserves to get that respect from the team, that he's a pretty upper echelon starter, then he needs to have the ball down the stretch there. No Giddey for obvious reasons with the ankle injury. No Zach LaVine tonight. Vooch has been a quality pick and roll option all season long. I don't know why you don't use it. You just have to kind of live with the results with it, because I think that's your best option, because hell, nothing else was working down the stretch. So you might as well go ahead and use your best playmaker at the moment as your main ball handler, and not have to put so much pressure on Lonzo as he's returning back from injury. Props to Lonzo for hitting the shot, but I think that honestly was just horrific down the stretch by the Bulls. So they did it. Still, though, if you're wondering, they lost the fourth quarter by 10 points. So just to put in perspective of how bad that quarter was for the Bulls, they got awfully wrecked. That quarter gave up 37 points, only scored 27, outscored by 10. That's awful. I mean, in retrospect, the Bulls put up 42 points in the third quarter, but only outscored the Raptors by 8. So that's a problem for the Bulls down the stretch. I'm aware, again, you don't have Zach. Zach's been your main guy down the stretch, but the execution just needs to be better, just straight up. Vooch, I understand that without Zach, the pick and roll option with Vooch is a little less effective, because Zach is just like, he's going to draw that much attention, and hence why Vooch has looked so open on pick and roll action this year. But still, though, I think that Kobe and Vooch is your best option down the stretch. So I don't know what really was the plan with the Bulls down the stretch, but it should have just been better at the end of the day. That was just not great to see. Keep Buzelis, keep Zoe, keep THT. Unfortunately, Delbert, I think 2 of those guys are on the trading block. Buzelis, obviously, you keep, but Zoe seems to be on the trading block. So we'll see if a team actually pays up for him. I doubt it. I really don't think a team's really going to go after him, but I could be proven wrong here. Trey Vooch, why he's hot. I'm going to guess you mean while he's hot. I agree, but that's hard to do. I think a lot of teams don't like as well as Vooch has played this year. I think a lot of teams are still scared of the defensive issues that he brings. So I would do anything in my willpower to trade Vooch at the moment. It's just that if you're another team, you better be trading him so you can start. Like, he's not going to come off the bench. He's going to be your starting center, but that comes with obvious flaws that he brings. So he's the second option on this current team. Is he going to be the second option on the team that he goes to? I seriously doubt it. So he has to, you have to really make a big decision on him. It's a hard decision at the end of the day. Reminder, he's not on the last year of his contract either, so hard to trade. Figures Giddy will get injured given it's been a few weeks of being listed as game time as GCG for his ankle. So has Giddy been? Has he? I have to look at the injury reports because I thought Giddy had illness one time, and then I thought he was dealing with back issues as well. But I guess I'm wrong about that. But yeah, I thought Giddy overall this year with the ankle hasn't really had much on the injury report, but I could be wrong. But I'll double check that. THD can be Zach Light for us? No, I don't think THD can be Zach Light for us. Nobody's so inconsistent though to risk a tight game, but I think he's your best option at the end of the day. I mean, who else are you gonna go to? I mean, I think Io obviously did not have it tonight, so there's that. So you're gonna rely on Zoe, which yeah, he hit the shot. But Zoe at that time, he was 1 for 6 from 3-point range. Like, it's rough for the Bulls. Like, again, you don't have Zach. Like, it's a rough situation. Hence why this team is, I think, a little bit worse than people think. But yeah, I get it. But still, though, Kobe was the one guy that actually made a bucket off the pick and roll set that they act like one of the few pick and roll sets that they ran. So I think at the end of the day, you got to run with Kobe. I think that's just your best option. Hold the ankle isn't too bad for Giddy. He was looking great tonight. Yeah, I really hope I'm gonna guess Giddy's out for a few weeks, especially with this Bulls medical staff. I think we should all expect that. Even let's just say, for example, they say Giddy's day to day. That means at least 1 week. If he's out for at least 1 week, then that means multiple weeks because this is the Bulls medical staff. So just be prepared for Giddy to be out for a while. It sucks because I think that he finally started to kind of understand his role a little bit better of like, okay, I have to rebound more effectively, play better defense, which he has been. And he's understanding that he has to take the catch and shoot threes. Like, he can't pass those up. And I think he's adjusted really well to it. And it just sucks now that at this, non-contact injury, and it's the same ankle that he ruptured one of his ligaments in the Olympics. So I hate it because it's also just poor timing for him because contract year obviously for him. So I really do hate it for Josh. I hope nothing but the best for him and hopefully it's a speedy recovery. But again, Bulls medical staff, if we saw it with Patrick Williams, he was listed out for a week, quote unquote, and he missed 10 games. So I'm just gonna assume that Josh is probably out for a while. It sucks. But I'm hoping that he can recover quickly because he needs to get back out on the court to prove his worth. At the end of the day, he was close to a triple-double, as you guys were saying. Really a solid game from him that as he was throughout this entire game. And even had some moments where he looked much better on ball. So just sucks with the timing. This was their first W without Zach this year. They lost the other 3, yeah. And honestly, let's just be real. They could have easily lost this game. Like, if Barrett makes one more shot down the stretch, they could have easily lost this one too. So, yeah, this team has had some issues down the stretch. Even with Zach, but without Zach, I mean, tonight it looked awful down the stretch. Yeah, with how Giddy was playing, I think no injury ball would have been his. With no injury ball would have been in his hands. I think they would have still tried to go to Vucevic, but I think with Giddy, I guess he's just an extra guy to bring the ball up the court that you can rely on, and not maybe have like THT out there down the stretch. Still though, I think that you should probably still go to Kobe. I think that's still your best option. But I don't know why they didn't. I prefer Lonzo over Cody, even though it was really bad end of stretch without Giddy. But my issue again though so Lonzo, I understand is just he's gonna be smart with everything, but this is I think this entire end of the stretch, the entire game is just showing why you don't put the ball in Lonzo's hands. It's just because he can't go and create his own shot. Like Lonzo, we saw like Lonzo and Vooch try to run the pick and roll and nothing worked off of it. Like they know that Lonzo's not a scoring threat. So that's the reason why I'm going to trust Kobe with it, just because I know Kobe can get his own shot at any time. Which is, again, it's crunch time. You got to trust the guy that you can give the playmaking, or that can go and like create his own shot. That's how you do it in crunch time. The problem though is that they were the first action that they were trying is that they were trying to post up Vooch constantly, and either Vooch wasn't sealing his man, or the Raptors were bringing over another defender, so the Bulls were too late to see like, oh, there's no one else on the corner. We need to throw the ball to the corner now. But they were too late to recognize it. So first and foremost, why are we doing that with Vooch? I don't know why. Especially against this Raptors team, it's never gonna work. Posting up Vooch down the stretch is never gonna work, especially against this Raptors team, and they all have length all over the court. I just think it's not exactly the best option. He's been much better this year, but posting up Vooch is still probably not a great idea down the stretch of a game. Hence why I was saying though, like, you can still get interior position with Vooch if you just run the pick and roll. I don't really need anything else besides that he just sets the screen and he dives hard to the basket. He'll get good interior position. It'll just be in a better spot. Like, he'll just be more in the middle of the floor instead of him playing at like the baseline. So I don't know what the play calling was or what Donovan was thinking, but it needed to be better. And still, that's the reason why I'm like, I think Kobe needed to have the ball, which I don't understand why he didn't have the ball. He had it like one possession, which is just very confusing to me. Yeah, I'm just upset with how that game ended, but they did it. Yeah, game a few games, and one illness, back issues was after trading. Okay, I see. Yeah. Has been very long as Kobe has gone through a rough stretch too. Yay for a break for them though. I understand that, but like like, let's say Zach's having a rough game. Like, who am I putting the ball? Who am I giving the ball down the stretch? I'm still giving it to Zach, right? And Kobe wasn't like, Kobe was also having a pretty like mid game today, but at least he was hitting his threes. So I understand like the thought process. Like, it's like, okay, Kobe's been struggling, but like I look around the court and I'm like, well, Zoe's 1 for 6 from 3. Io can't hit a shot today. THT's arguably been your most consistent scorer tonight. P. Will didn't come back onto the court for a while, so your best option was obviously Vooch, but he needs help getting the ball. So, like, the argument, like, well, Kobe's struggling, he's had a rough stretch. I'm like, okay, Zoe is 1 for 6 from 3. Io is also struggling tonight. THT is your best option. You gonna give it to him instead? Okay, maybe that was the better option at the end of the day. But I just still think you give it to the guy that has been most reliable as your best playmaker throughout his Bulls career, which has just been Kobe. You should have just given it to him. Yeah, he's finally played better defense, and now this. Also, damn, that was really nasty basketball out there. Yeah, Barrett. This was bad basketball down the stretch. It was also just bad basketball in the second quarter by the Bulls. But so I want to make it clear, Bulls deserve their praise for the first and third quarters. That was very good basketball in the first and third quarters. That was very good from offensive standpoint, and also even defensively in the first quarter. I think it was pretty solid. I think that was encouraging. I mean, the assist numbers are still again for the Bulls, and they have 33 assists tonight. So even with the rough stretch down the stretch, or down in crunch time, like, they still did well at the end of the day. But I really think that you just see this, that, like, I know it doesn't look too bad, but that the last 6 minutes, bro, was dreadful to just witness. They got to figure something else out. And again, I know Zach isn't there, but this is just still, though, like, if Zach does get traded, crowd, like, imagine if Zach and Vooch get traded and you're trying to win like a close game. Like, what's the plan? Like, I can't even imagine what we would be doing down the stretch. I mean, luckily you had Vooch tonight, but oh boy, that was rough. Is he more of a passer or a playmaker to you? Lonzo is also just more of a passer to me. I think Lonzo is a fantastic passer. I think Lonzo will get the guys the basketball if they're wide open, no matter where they are. I think Lonzo will find an open guy easily. Is Lonzo gonna, bend the defense and draw two and penetrate the paint easily and kick it out to open guys off of that action? No, he's not going to do that because he hasn't consistently scored inside in his career. He also just hasn't been able to make shots off the dribble in his career either. So he's a lack of a scoring threat with the basketball in his hands. He is obviously a fantastic three-point shooter, but most of his three-point shots come off the catch and shoot. That's where he is most effective, and I think that's how it should stay that way. Like, it should just stay that way with Lonzo. His IQ's off the charts, so I understand the thought process of, like, okay, give it to him down the stretch, but I think we just witnessed, like, it was a rough stretch with Lonzo having the basketball. He obviously was the guy that set up the last play, but still, though, you saw the action was different. Like, it was a pick and roll action. Like, that's what we needed to do more of. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think Lonzo was obviously had a pretty good overall game, even if he wasn't hitting his shots, but he made a key one down the stretch at the end of the day. Bulls end up only winning by 1, but when they're up by 10 for most of the game. Yep, Woodage. Yep, that's what happened. Yeah, I'm aware that is the Bears game over? I'm not fully keeping up to date with that because I just don't care about the Bears right now. Nope, they're still playing. But yeah, here's update for the Bears game. So if you're coming from the Bears game and giving up all hope on the Bears, which I have, welcome in. Yeah, the Bulls were up by double digits for a lot of this game. They were even up by like 16 in the fourth quarter, and they blew it. They blew the lead in the last 6 minutes. Yeah, it was rough down the stretch, but the Bulls pulled it out. So props to them for pulling it out here at the end of the day. But we'll talk about some individual performances. Like, I think Julian Phillips deserves a lot of credit for tonight. I think that he had a very good game off the bench, even though he didn't play a lot of minutes. I think that Giddey was having a really good game, obviously, before his injury happened. We'll talk about the Giddey injury a little bit more in depth, of like what we should expect from timeline and stuff, because just a preview, hey, it's the Bulls medical staff. He's probably out for a while. So we'll preview a little bit of that, and then get into what the starting lineup should be moving forward. We'll talk about Zach's, back spasms and such. And then I have some film. It's not gonna be that long of a stream tonight again. I do apologize, but I have some film that I do have planned to kind of show you guys, because there's a few things that I have in mind to look at, especially down the stretch of a game. Yeah, points in the first half were fun. Maybe Pat Vuce got some pointers from JP and Matas. Yeah, Vuce had that blow-by dunk off of Olynyk, and honestly, I don't know what Olynyk was thinking, but yeah, that was cool. Pat didn't exactly have the greatest game in the world, but I do appreciate that he was more aggressive. So yeah, I'm hoping that's going to work out well for Pat. Glad to see he's back in the starting lineup, still on the minutes restriction, still rusty, as you can see. I'm hoping Pat though can figure it out. MATG was the option instead of solo trust of Kobe generally. I mean, I say that Kobe is Zach LaVine, I guess, light, or like the poor man's version of Zach. And so if you trust Zach down the stretch, then I think you just gotta trust Kobe. Like, again, if Zach's having a bad game overall, I'm still giving him the ball down the stretch. If he's still the number one option on this team, like, and he's having a bad game, I'm still giving him the ball down the stretch because he's just the best option at the end of the day. I know Kobe recently has had a rough stretch. Like, he's had bad efficiency, bad shot selection, and bad turnovers. But I still think that you just give it to him at the end of the day. So I guess THD should have been your other option tonight. The Bulls didn't use him either, though. So I don't know what the plan was at the end of the day. Grady Dick was Steph Curry in the last few minutes. He was. Grady Dick hit some ridiculous threes in the last few minutes. 10 plus three-pointers made in every game this season, tie for the longest streak in the league. Yeah, that is a tie for the longest streak in the league, which is great to see by the Bulls. There's been some ugly three-point shooting games, but at least they've made 10 every single game, which is great. They just got to continue it, obviously. I think that's just the best thing to do, because yet again, this team is small, so I don't expect this team to just suddenly start scoring in the paint constantly. So yeah, keep doing that. And they did it without obviously Zach tonight, so that's good. We can hope they get traded, but I feel the Bulls will look at both or at least one of them for the rest of the season. I think both are probably going to be here for the rest of the season, if I had to make a guess right now. Just with kind of the ways, things have been talked about. I still, I'll still stand by that. I did say that I think Zach will get traded this year. And I will eat my words, and I'll say I'm wrong if he doesn't. I still have belief that he will get traded, but it's looking harder and harder every day. So yeah, we'll probably have at least one at the end of the year. If Zach and Vuce get traded, let Matas cook. We won't win, but winning at the cards right now for us. Yeah, I think if both guys actually do get traded, then I think everybody is gonna have a look in terms of how they can score as a main option on offense. So Buzelis obviously would be a great look to kind of good kind of gauge of how he can score as a main ball handler. I don't think that's necessarily what's needed from Buzelis this year. I've made it clear. I think Buzelis has already kind of shook the boxes for what I've needed from him in his rookie year. And I just want him to continue doing that. I don't need him to suddenly pick up offensive workload suddenly. But yeah, I think down the road though, for sure, I would want to see how well Buzelis can do with the ball in his hands. He's just looking 3 points should expected from it. Well, I don't know what the Bulls were thinking tonight, because it just seemed like they didn't expect him to shoot it. It was almost like they played Grady Dick like he was RJ Barrett, and then they played RJ Barrett like he was Grady Dick tonight. I don't know what the thought process was there, but they both went off. So there's that. It's good to see how the team looks with no Zach. I think it shows there's light there. I don't know, bro. I did not feel great about this game. The team so far without Zach is 1-3. This was the one win. So I mean, if you're a person like me who wants to keep the pick, then yeah, this looks great, I guess. So it's wow, we don't look too good. It looks like we're kind of banking on if we can shoot the 3-ball or not that night. The defense still looks bad. At least you're still passing the ball great though, and you're launching the threes. So at least that's still there. But down the stretch though, holy crap, you look awful. And there are just lull moments throughout the game where it's you need a Zach to keep up with the scoring. I have more faith overall that I think, if Zach does get traded and the Bulls do things right, I think that I have faith that things will go better. Not saying we're going to become a contender in 3 years. I'm just saying that we'll be better off if they can pull things out and do the proper decisions, which I don't expect from this front office. But yeah, either way though, I'm still looking at a team that is just, they have issues and flaws, and losing Zach doesn't suddenly mean that the defense is 10 times better. You still gave 121 points tonight, and the Raptors had a ton of points in the paint in the first half. They had 30 points in the paint in the first half. What did they end with tonight? And it was 64. So yeah, it's not like the defensive efficiency went up with Zach out. It still was terrible at the end of the day. Yeah, just not at the end of the game. Yeah. You deserve more views, bro. I appreciate it, King Cap. Yeah. We should all like Duncan's streams when jumping on, so he gets more views, especially when how responsive he is. I appreciate, honestly, because first and foremost, again, I know that the Bears game is still on, and I do appreciate you all just checking in on the stream. If you're just gonna be here for a second, I still do appreciate it. It's just a second of your time. Again, Bears game is on, so if you need to come back, that's completely fine. But I do appreciate y'all just checking in immediately as the game ended. Yeah, so just thank you so much. If you are able to, please hit the like button. Helps me out a lot with just everything. So if you're able to hit the like button on the stream, you have no idea how much that helps. It honestly helps me just a lot that you just hit the like button. So even if you're just a lurker, just hit the like button. That helps me out a ton. Yeah, and so Bears game, I know. So just again, if you want updates of the Bears game, here's the score right now. So it's 20-6, and Vikings have the ball. And if you've lost hope like I have, I've just lost all hope this year when it comes to the Bears. They're already out of the playoffs anyway. I was just hoping that we would see some sort of light of oh hey, look, I have some hope with this team moving forward. But suddenly now I want Ryan Poles' job maybe not so secure as some Bears fans seem to think that he's this god. But anyway, we'll talk about this win though. Overall, first and foremost. And then I do, after we talk about a little bit about like individual stuff, I do want to talk about Josh Giddey and his ankle roll or whatever happened tonight, which will hopefully get some more info. So if any of you are keeping track of Casey Johnson's Twitter, or I guess he's not there at the game tonight. If any of you are keeping track of any of the Bulls beat reporters Twitter, I'll be refreshing my Twitter feed on the side monitor here. So if you get any update on Giddey, which if there is one already, please tell me. But yeah, just let us know immediately in chat. You can't send links, so just tell me who I should go to at the end of the day. Because, yeah, YouTube doesn't allow you to send links in chat, so sorry about that. But yeah, so again, I think Vooch was pretty good tonight. Smaller Raptors team, he did a pretty decent job. I think Julian Phillips is the main guy that I want to shout out because he didn't get a lot of minutes, but he played really, really well in his limited minutes. So I think that he deserves the biggest shout out. I think Jalen Smith had a pretty solid game in terms of efficiency. I'm still worried about Jalen Smith's overall just kind of conditioning, but maybe, you know, in the future for Jalen Smith, he could be like a Bobby Portis role for us. I still like Jalen Smith a lot just due to how well he's been just been efficient throughout his career. But I don't think he's going to probably be the starting center in the future for this team. So if Vooch does get traded, like, he'll probably start for the time being, but I don't think he'll be the starting center moving forward. But I do like overall kind of what he brings. So solid game from him tonight. The bench overall did a good job. I don't know how many bench points it was at the end of the day, but it was 40 plus. And Taylor Horton-Tucker was doing a really good job. The only thing that he just couldn't do for some reason is hit his free throws. He just straight up just couldn't hit a free throw down the stretch of the game. He hit the big one though, so props to him for hitting the big one. But I don't know what was up with him tonight. He just couldn't hit his free throws, but he was still doing a good job attacking the basket, which we've seen all season long. So yeah, I do appreciate that from Taylor Horton-Tucker. He's been a big surprise to me. I made a prediction that he would be the last guy in the roster come out of training camp just because he's a Chicago product. But I did not expect him to be this good, and he's actually been like a really nice rotation piece this year. Still inconsistent on offense, but I do like what he brings. He's a pretty solid ball handler, and defensively he can be a kind of a nuisance. Still a little bit short, but makes up for it with a really long wingspan. So yeah, we'll see. I think the Bulls might be interested in trading him. We'll see if the team takes him. I'll just take a second for him, honestly. But yeah, I hope that THT can continue playing well. Getting all on the phone, Zach resigns straight up. JK, I know they wouldn't do it. Honestly, I'm being real, Viper Strike. Like, I don't know if I would do that right now. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, I guess it would be worth it. But Zion just doesn't play, bro. Like, I don't think it's worth it. Because Zion just doesn't play games. Because it's like, I think the thought process is like, okay, you just trade Zach for Zion because Zion's value is so low, and so you would just get a more healthier player to win now. But like, then if you're the Bulls, if you try to trade Zion later, like, his value is just going to continue to decline if you can't play the game. So I hesitate with that idea because I know a lot of Bulls fans are talking about it right now, like Zach for Zion. Because Zion, the Pelicans have made it clear like they're willing to trade everybody, but I just question it. Like, I really have major questions about Zion moving forward. And that's not me saying like, oh, that like I'm trying to hold on to Zach. I'm just saying that it might just be in the Bulls' best interest to just trade Zach for like just healthier pieces or like a first round pick in the future, if possible. Like, maybe you don't even get a first round pick, but just trade Zach for guys that will play that aren't as good. But yeah, I don't know. I have my doubts with Zion. Blue's taking the baby steps in the right direction. He is, yeah. The Blues hit that three today that I was really happy about. It was above the break, so it wasn't a corner, and he knocked it down. Looked great. Billy said he hasn't heard back how severe ankle is. Yeah, okay, I appreciate that. AV Breeze, that helps a lot. Yeah, so no updates so far in terms of Josh Giddey's ankle issue, or whatever happened to him. Honestly, I don't know what really did happen to him. What's going on, Magula? Thank you for checking in. I'm doing overall well. I'm tired. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm pretty tired. My day's been a little bit thrown off just due to some events that happened today. Some stuff that happened at work. Yeah. I'm doing good. Hope you guys are doing good. Thank you for asking. I'm tired though, man. I'm so tired. Things have just been kind of hectic everywhere. At work, so yeah, I'm exhausted. Professor I hope to THC was wild. That was wild. Yeah, that was really cool to see. I know THC has some athleticism in him, obviously, but that was not expected. He's expensive. You can't plan around him. He'll fall off with age a lot with the size of play style like Aiden did. So I don't necessarily think he's Aiden, and I do think Aiden's been kind of screwed over with how things have gone within his career. Not saying that Aiden's going to become an all-star, but I do think that he's not as bad as we've been seeing recently. I'm more so worried like his injuries are just going to derail him. My thing about like his moving forward with him, I guess my biggest thing is like what would his athleticism be as he continues to get older? Because like we've seen more recently how players like they continue with their athleticism a little bit longer. Now Zion obviously is like much shorter as a big, so that's the problem with him. So I definitely see the concerns. Like I'm not saying like there isn't any concerns. I see major concerns with Zion's game, and then with just the injuries with his athleticism moving forward. Like I don't know what he will be. The thing is though, it's just that with how players are today, like their athleticism lasts a little bit longer than I think than all of us kind of think that they should last. The problem with Zion is that he just doesn't shoot the ball, so it will be very tough for him to continue his high peak of play if he can't shoot the ball. So yeah, I think that's gonna be a major problem. But the biggest thing for me, even before we even start talking about him playing and how he will play, is just can he stay healthy, which I just don't think he will. He's just made of glass. It's not necessarily his fault. It's just he's made of glass. I'm aware that people like say like, oh, weight issues and stuff like that. I honestly don't think it's weight issues. Like I've seen players bigger than him last longer on the court. So I don't necessarily think it's weight issues. I think it's just he's made of glass. So yeah. Yeah. Imagine how huge Zion will become when he starts eating at Chicago. Sheesh. I mean, if there is weight issues, like yeah, coming to Chicago is not going to be any easier for him in terms of eating stuff. Chicago is some of the best food in the world, so yeah. I really don't think it's weight issues. I honestly, I think that there's just at the end of the day, there are just some players that even if let's say they lose 100 pounds, they're just made of glass. Like they'll just get injured still. So I just think at the end of the day, it's not weight issues. It's just his body. That's been a problem. Like, I mean, I know Zoe is healthy now, but he had to basically get a meniscus that isn't his, or sorry, cartilage that isn't his to play again. Like Lonzo was healthy. Like Lonzo was not overweight. Lonzo was not, doing anything wrong with his body except maybe wearing his, shoes that his dad made. But like, Lonzo could lose a bunch of weight, but he would still just get injured. So, I don't think it's weight issues, honestly. Bulls already have enough pain from long-term injured players. Only the 76ers match it. I mean, I think the 76ers are honestly having a more cursed year than the Bulls have had in a while. But yeah, I would not want another injured player to kind of work with. Ray Arpels this year, honestly. Zion's better than Ainge, just a bigger drop-off in play style with injuries risk. I agree. Yeah. I don't know if Zion will even finish with better accolades set than Ben Simmons got. Well, I think just the fact that he'll be, I guess, have a longer peak than Ben Simmons, maybe. But yeah. Man, we always got dick down my greedy dick. I was waiting for someone to make the joke. Appreciate you being here, Box. Yeah. I guess you could say that. Zion quite literally has a gut. Well, the thing is though, is that I think there's more NBA players than we actually think that actually have guts. Like, I don't think every NBA player has abs like showing. I'm being real. Like, for example, like not to hate on Kenny Lofton, but like Kenny Lofton is pretty big, and he's also not that tall. Yet Kenny Lofton seems to be a little bit more healthier than Zion Williamson, and Kenny Lofton's been like playing in like has been playing in like summer league stuff. Like, I still think that at the end of the day, like Zion could lose like 60 pounds, he would still just get injured. Sure, maybe that weight isn't helping him, but I've seen it so many times now with athletes where like, and this doesn't just mean just the NBA athletes. Like, I'm just talking about athletes in general, where they could lose weight and they'll just still get injured. I've seen athletes where they look extremely overweight and yet they're the healthiest people in the world when it comes to playing games consistently. Like, it's just how it works. People just have better bodies in terms of just what they've been born with. Better genes. So, do I think that Zion should probably lose a few pounds? Sure. Do I think that he'll still get injured if he loses like 30 pounds in like the next year? Yeah, I still think he'll get injured. And we'll just have to see. Chicago best food in the world. I did not say Chicago is the best food in the world. I said Chicago has some of the best food in the world. Not saying Chicago is the best food in the world. Not saying that. Don't worry. Also though, I do know that there are some places in Europe though, like Berlin, that isn't exactly like the best food. I don't know why people always talk about like Berlin as like, yeah, that's like great. But I do know that Europe has some of the best food in the world. So just want to make that clear. I just want to make it clear though, I am not saying Chicago is the best food in the world. That is not the case. Yeah. Might as well go after Ben Simmons to Ukraine IR section while at it. Big three is Zion, Ben, and Lonzo. Oh my god, that would be the best big three. Lonzo's been healthier than the two of them in terms of this year. You see your THT? Yeah, I saw it, Delbert. Yeah, Lonzo threw it, and it was THT went up, and I could not believe that he threw it down like that. Like, the actual fact, excuse me, the THT, like, it was kind of a short pass, and so THT would just, you know, not something I was expecting from him, but you know, long wingspan helps. What crushed me for it, but Ben would actually sadly make the Bulls better for this single season. Are you talking about if Ben Simmons is healthy, like the hypothetical that he's healthy and playing? Because if we're talking about just in general, I don't think he does because he misses too many games. But the hypothetical that if he is healthy and playing well, then yeah. But that's hypothetical. Like, if you're talking about just in general though, like, no, he doesn't because he misses too many games. Joe says his wrist still bothers him a little on the shots. Ah, great. Just what I want to hear. I'm worried about that wrist, bro. I'm hoping that he doesn't injure it again because then it's like season-ending surgery. So just be careful with it. But you know, good that he's still playing. I think Lofton's overseas now. That makes sense. I think Lofton should probably go overseas to play, but still, like he's been healthier than Zion. That would be the best player on the team. Oh, I agree. Yeah. So again, it's hypothetical if he's healthy and playing well. Again, if he's not though, like if he's not healthy and he's missing so many games, like then it's not. It doesn't make the team better. If Viper Lofton is in the Sharks, the place people always joke players are sent, but he chose it, I guess, for a good contract. I actually just think it's best case scenario for him, just because he'll get the playing time. Contract, I mean, I don't know how much worse it is or how much better it is, honestly. But it's not like a G League contract. Like, he's not getting a two-way, so knowing that, it's not like a G League contract would be anything better. It's just that you're still in the United States and could potentially get a call at any moment, I guess. But I think we're seeing more players because of how the team needs the league needs expansion. We're seeing more players go overseas, and I think that's a fine decision by them. I think that's fine. Giant legs and gait are really weird. It's like a boat rocking on waves. Oh, I agree. He looks weird, but I mean, that's how he's been his entire life, really. Germany has great food, but it's Bulgaria amongst the best for sure. Is it true though that Germany like doesn't have that many spices, or is that just like Berlin? Like I've heard that for some reason recently that like Berlin just like doesn't have like any spices that are like good. But I don't know. I've never been there, so I can't like be the I can't be like the person who tells the facts about it. So I'm just hearing hearsay. Germany is less spicy. Ah, okay. I see. All right. Let me go over a few things here. Okay. AV Breeze, keep me up to date if there's anything else with Josh. I don't think that we're gonna get any more updates, but maybe we'll get something by Shams or something like that. So with Giddy, so I'm gonna pull up the play. If you did not see what happened to Josh Giddy tonight, I'm sure that most of you or all of you saw it, but just want to play it for everybody, just because I just want to make sure everyone knows what we're talking about here. This is what happened to Josh Giddy tonight. Kind of a pretty bad time for it to happen. He was having a pretty good game, or a really good game overall, close to a triple-double, and he goes for a closeout on Grady Dick, and he tweaks his ankle, non-contact injury. The way he reacted, though, is what mostly concerns me. So let me just bring this over for you guys to see. Let me try to. There we go. Come on, media player. So, this is sorry, I don't have Epic Pen up. But you can see Giddy with my cursor right now that he's trying to fight through a screen that Kelly Olynyk is setting, and he's chasing Grady Dick all the way out to the corner. And I'll just play it without Epic Pen, but right there, Giddy twists his ankle. I initially thought maybe Grady Dick like he took the shot and then fell on Giddy's ankle, and then Giddy like kind of rolled it because Grady Dick fell on him. That's not what happened though. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna pull this to the side as we'll get the replay eventually here. This though, I'm just more concerned with how Josh reacted. It didn't look too bad overall. Like it just looked like a small tweak when I first saw it, but the way that Josh reacted, it looked a little bit worse than that. So I don't know personally what's gonna happen with him. But okay, sorry. Reacted after he went down, and then seeing that he needed help getting to the locker room is what's most concerning to me. At the end of the day, it's those two things combined. Again, when I looked at it, it looked like just kind of like another one of those like tweaks that you see a lot in basketball. And I thought he might be fine, but that the way that he reacted when it initially happened and then getting help to the locker room, it was pretty concerning to me overall. So my guess is that it's probably a pretty serious level ankle sprain. That's just, again, I'm not a doctor. I don't have anything in medical background or anything, but my guess is just that. I'm just hoping that he didn't like tear a ligament. So Giddy ruptured a ligament in that same ankle in the last game of the Olympics, and then we found out about it on media day out of all days. That happened. So it's the same ankle. I'm just hoping that he just didn't rupture a ligament again or something like that, or he tore something in his foot. I seriously doubt he broke something, but anything can happen, honestly. So I'm just really hoping that that didn't happen. I'm aware that a sprain is like a tear in itself, but I'm just gonna say that, or I hope that it's just a sprain and nothing else. But yeah, that didn't look great. So just like I always tell people when it comes to any injuries on the Bulls, don't expect anything great in terms of recovery time, rehab, or anything like that. Expect the worst. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, this is a joke. I'm saying that to be serious because we've seen how this works with the Bulls. If a player is deemed day-to-day, you should think he's out at least for a week. If he's deemed out for a week in terms of, you know, how Patrick Williams was like listed out for like a week and with his foot issue. He's out for at least multiple weeks. So Pat again was listed out for a week, quote unquote, and then he missed 10 games. So my guess is that Giddey is at least out for a week, which means he's out for multiple weeks. So I'm just gonna hope that it goes well for him in terms of rehab, recovery, and then getting back out there, because there's a lot on the line, not just for the Bulls, but also just for Giddey. This is a contract year for Giddey. I think we're all aware of that. So getting an injury in your contract year is like the worst thing possible. So he needs to get back out there and prove his value. Obviously for the Bulls, though, they're still evaluating him. So you can't evaluate a guy that's injured. So yeah, it's just poor timing for kind of just everybody involved, but especially for Giddey. So hoping he can just recover quickly. I'm hoping it's just a slight tweak and nothing else, and he'll be back in like 2 games, which I seriously doubt. But that's like best case scenario at the end of the day. So yeah, not great overall. See it. The fact that he is injury prone could just be his musculoskeletal system. Oh, you're talking about Zion? Oh, maybe, honestly. Who's under the radar player you would seek out at the moment? Like a young undrafted or other team target? Oh, are you talking about in terms of trades? Or are you talking about like in terms of just a player that is not currently on a team, like that wasn't drafted or something like that? Because if you're asking me about any draft prospects, I'm not the person to talk to. I don't know anything about that. If you're asking about like who the Bulls should be targeting, honestly, in terms of like trade value, I'm not really sure yet. No one that I'm like looking at is like that's like underappreciated or like undervalued yet. So I'll have to do a more deeper search. But honestly, anybody that has size would just be a good start with this team. Aside from the triple doubles, I feel like Giddey has 5x5 potential when he's locked in on D. I think there's a chance for Giddey to do a 5x5 game. I don't think it's not Victor Wembanyama like consistency level of like, oh, he's a threat to do it every single night. If Giddey is locked in on D, I think he'll have a better chance of getting blocks just due to his size. But yeah, I don't know about 5x5 potential. I do think though there's potential of him getting like a block and a half per game if he does seriously lock in for a full season, but that requires him to lock in for a full season. So, questions. They're letting Giddey play a defensive style that suits him more by switching, not having to fight screens, and even letting him switch on to centers. But it's also that like Giddey's not guarding like the point guard, right? Which is better. He's guarding, he instead of him being like the point of attack defender, he's the guy. He's like the big man in the pick and roll, quote unquote. Yeah, I think the switching is good. Just like I've always said, switching on defense is great. So it's just obviously it puts stress on Giddey's one-on-one ability to defend, which I think he's done better recently. Use your size to your advantage, and especially against smaller guys, he should have a better time. So yeah, I think it's been better in terms of the defensive and also on offense too with Giddey. So I'm hoping that moving forward things will work out better on both ends. But it's been better recently. So just again, timing just sucks with this injury. Bringing Josh Giddey out for remainder of the season with broken fibula will undergo surgery. Oh boy, yeah. Hoping that's not the case, but I seriously doubt he broke his fibula. I think we would visually see that. Who was injured? What happened? Josh Giddey was injured. So here is, and visually it doesn't look that bad. Like when the injury happened, I don't like it didn't look too bad. It's just that Giddey's reaction did not look good when it literally just happened. Like he was screaming out in pain. And then seeing him need help to the locker room is not good to see either. So I'm hoping that it's better than I think, but my guess he's out for at least 2 weeks, probably longer. So yeah. Brutal Grady, I was searching all over for the update there. Wait, what? I don't know what. Oh, I understand it. Delbert, I understand that you're joking. Sorry. I'm terrible when it comes to stuff. I know it was sarcasm. I'm just awful of telling people I know it's sarcastic. I honestly just have a straight face a lot of the time, so I do apologize. I know you're sarcastic. I'm sorry I didn't laugh. I don't laugh at a lot of things. If you ever that's honestly a content idea for me. If you ever want to try to get me to laugh, like if I had like a Discord and you guys send in funny videos and like you try to get me to laugh, like I'll give like a $50 gift card to somebody if they can make me laugh, because like I honestly think that I can probably just have a straight face throughout a lot of things. Sorry. That's just how I am. I do apologize about that. Sorry. Yeah, I have the resting bitch face, and then sometimes when I do find something funny, I don't react. Like I'm like, oh, it was funny, but yeah, sorry, that's my fault. My bad. Zay over ACL over again. Yeah, it reminds you of AC, right? But yeah, we'll see though. We're just gonna hope that it's gonna be it'll be best case scenario for Giddy. I'm just seriously worried that he like tore a ligament or something. That's my biggest fear right now, is that he tore like some like small ligament in his foot. Which then I don't know if that one needs surgery or not. Again, I'm not a doctor, but yeah, it's always just a major concern of mine. Anytime that there is some sort of reaction like that. Okay. Here's the Bears update. 12-17. Vikings have the ball, so I think we all know what's gonna happen in this game. Yeah, woohoo, go Chicago. Yeah, Bears have been at the end of the day. All right, so that was Josh Giddey. I just want to show that to everybody, give my thoughts on it. I appreciate all you guys' thoughts on it too. Again, timing just sucks. I think Giddey has been playing a lot better recently on both ends of the floor. He's been kind of understanding his role, and you know, playing a little bit more off ball and kind of maximizing that time when he does get the basketball. So timing just really sucks for Giddey. So yeah, hoping speedy recovery. Hoping it's not anything too serious at the end of the day. Okay. Let me just go ahead and I'm gonna go on a rant. Okay, so rant incoming warning. I do want to just show a few things from the late game scenario, because this sort of stuff was bothering the crap out of me. I hate sometimes what Stacey King says, and it's I don't know. I feel like I have a vendetta against him this year. I don't mean to be so critical of Stacey King, but at the end of the day, I am, because he just, I don't know. I'm hella critical of people sometimes, which I shouldn't be, but I am. Okay, so let's watch this, because I think that this is a prime example of how Stacey King he doesn't tell the full story sometimes, and it bothers the crap out of me. So this is one of the plays. So this is not the last 6 minutes, but this is basically when all the trouble started happening for the Bulls in the 4th quarter. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the play, and like I'll play the audio for you just in case, if you're like, just so you know, like I'm not like making crap up, but here's audio for you. Okay, really quickly. So Stacey King on this specific play has said that this is Julian Phillips' fault because he did not get the ball to him quickly enough on this specific play. Okay, so let's just watch the play again. Sorry, I'm gonna turn volume off. Right, the Bulls were trying to post up Vooch when it started to come down to crunch time, which I'm not the biggest fan of it. As good as Vooch has been in the post this year, I just don't think it's the best option. I think you can find him on the pick and roll, which is just a better option. So here's the play. It's not a badly designed play, but let's just look at this, okay? So right now, okay, Julian Phillips just caught the ball, and we're talking about trying to get this ball down to Vooch. Okay, hold on, sorry. Let me switch to black. So you're trying to get this ball down to Vooch here, and you know, Stacey King says, "Hey, Julian Phillips, like the younger players gotta get better at this. Like he didn't give him the basketball quick enough." When I watch this play, the person who is at fault, in my opinion, the person who's at fault is Vucevic. Because what Vooch tried to do, which he has a smaller guy on him right now, okay? What Vooch should be doing is that he needs to seal this man. And so I understand that he's smaller, and it's like, oh, you can use his speed to his advantage, but you're a big man. Like, the whole point of you posting up is that you have a small guy on you, is that you seal him. So it's your job to make sure that you have full contact of him and you know where he's going to be when you post him up. Therefore, you make yourself as big of a target for the inbound pass to you, and it makes it easier then for the player like Julian Phillips to get this ball to you, okay? But if we're blaming anybody in this sort of scenario, in terms of that the ball didn't get to Vucevic, okay, to me, it's on Vooch. It's not on Phillips. It's not Phillips' fault. Phillips didn't catch the ball until, like, now. Like, he has full grasp of the ball now and is looking for Vooch now, okay? It's not like he can get Vooch the basketball like that off a touch pass. Like, Phillips has full control now and is going to try to give him the basketball now. But you see right now, Vooch doesn't have control of this guy. This guy is, like, trying to sneak over, and Vooch has no control over him. So how is Phillips supposed to give him the ball cleanly if Vooch doesn't have the guy seal behind him? Like, this is not on Phillips. This is on Vooch. So then Phillips tries to lob the pass in, and the guy's here already. Whose fault is that? That's on Vooch. That's not on Phillips. That's on Vucevic. That's Vooch's fault for not sealing his man down low. That's his fault for not making sure that he can get the pass cleanly. That's on Vooch. But yet, as we always do with Stacey King in his broadcast, is that we never blame the big man when it comes to trying to post up on the low block. We blame the perimeter players because these guys apparently all can't make a simple pass. When in reality, we need to make sure when we look at everything that's happening right now, what's actually going to happen in this play, okay? There's more than just, oh, these guys need to make the proper pass for it to get there. It's also then on Vucevic, who in my opinion has done a very good job this year to seal the man properly so that he can catch the ball cleanly, okay? It's a two-way street here, right? It's not just, oh, Phillips needs to make a good pass. It's also that Vooch needs to make himself the proper target. So, in my opinion, if there's anybody to blame on this sort of play here, it's Vucevic. I personally do not think that this is on Phillips. I think Phillips is just wrongly accused on the broadcast when this happened, and it bothers the crap out of me because a lot of people now are going to go around saying, well, the Bulls still can't pass Vucevic the ball because of this specific play. When in reality, in my opinion, this is on Vucevic for not stealing his man. Okay, he's like a 6-foot dude on him. How about you go and actually be a 7-footer and steal your man, then you catch the ball? But instead, we're going to be blaming Phillips for not apparently getting him the ball quickly enough, which Phillips had the ball for like a second. Like, that's not even his fault. So there's that play, okay? That play frustrated me because it's like, oh, we're going to be blaming Vucevic, blaming the perimeter players because that's what we do on the Bulls broadcast. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm not going to be too critical of it at the end of the day. I just want to point it out just because I think that it's a dumb analysis by Stacey King, who, again, I don't have an issue. I'm not trying to, like, you know, bring him down. I'm just pointing it out. And, you know, look, if you disagree with me, I think you have every right to disagree with me. I'm just pointing out what I think, personally, is what is best. But let me show you guys the next play I want to show you here down the stretch that I was also pretty frustrated with. So let's look at this play. Yeah, you made it in time, Taro. Pass shouldn't have been a fake, not thrown. I agree. Maybe should have been a fake. But yet again, though, if we're talking about like, oh, Vooch needs to get the ball here, I don't think he needs to get the ball there. But if he's trying to get the ball there, then he needs to seal his man. So yeah, I don't know. I've seen that a lot too. Because oh, they missed him. But I look back to the play, I'm like, you think he should have thrown that pass? Yeah. Let me show you another. Here's another example of it. Okay. So this play here, I'm fine with this play. So I was fine with how the Bulls ran this one. This is going to be a double stagger screen. You're going to see Vooch and P. Will set a stagger screen for Io to come off of. And you're going to see them try to post up Vooch again. Okay. They get the switch here, right? So I think it's on Badji on Vooch now. I don't exactly remember. But here, though, it's like, okay. So now Pat has the ball, right? And so I think in this scenario, maybe you can make the argument that Pat needs to just give him the ball now. So, like, if, in my opinion, the Phillips one, I don't see a way where Phillips can, like, quickly get him the ball where it's like, oh, you missed the timing. Maybe Pat needs to give him the ball now. Like, I think there's an argument to be made for maybe that. But then watch, okay? So maybe there was that timing, but then Stacey then was upset here because you see right now the Raptors are now starting to get over on top side with Vooch. So now Vooch is not open, okay? This is yet again on Vooch for not stealing his man, which I think is the part of the equation. But then also, just to be clear here, Grady Dick decided to come off weak side, okay, and help on this. So if Pat does throw this ball, then this is easily getting stolen. I don't care who it is, whether it's this guy or it's Grady Dick. Like, this ball's getting stolen if you throw this pass in right now. So Stacey King, I'll play the audio for you, but like Stacey King wanted this pass at this moment. Like, he also wanted this to be thrown in, which I just don't understand. Like, why would you throw this pass in right now? This is 1,000,000% just getting stolen at this moment. Again, if maybe Pat should have gotten the ball quicker, like right when Pat caught it, like boom, get him the ball there. But at this moment, which is now like a half second later, like, this is not a pass to be thrown. Now, what the Bulls didn't do, which is I think what Stacey King should be talking about, is that right now Kobe's open because Grady Dick decided, hey, I'm gonna cheat off weak side. I'm gonna play his free safety. Okay, I'm gonna cheat off from weak side, and so now Kobe's open. Okay, so the reaction from the Bulls right now should be, okay, well, we know that this was the initial action. In this scenario, we kind of did what we wanted, which is that Vooch drew two, even though he didn't have the basketball, right? So just that alone is like, hey, Vooch kind of did his job by drawing two, in this case, okay? So there's that. That being said, though, you got to now take advantage. So if you're Pat, you either got to whip this pass over to the corner now, or you got to swing this to Io, who's got to swing this over. But in my opinion, what Pat should be looking at is like, hey, your man's up in the air at the moment. You got to drive this. Try to see if you can drive this, knowing that you have the big man on you, so that if you get past him, then there's no rim protection. Grady Dick's your rim protection at the moment. At bare minimum, though, you're gonna probably collapse the defense. Oh, hey, Kobe's open because Grady Dick decided to cheat over, right? Like, there's just things that could have been done instead of, hey, we should have given this pass in to Vooch. Which, again, why do we need to do this right now? Hey, do you not see Grady Dick is coming over to help out on this? And oh, by the way, Vooch doesn't have his man sealed anymore. They're playing top side. Like, this is not possible to give him the ball right now. So I'll back it up and I'll just go ahead and just play the audio. Just see, you hear him say, what? I don't know why they can't get him the ball. Like, hello? Like, yeah, maybe like initially, like Pat, like right when he caught it, he should just give it to him. But right after Pat, like, finally took his jab step over, like, Grady Dick's coming. Like, that, why would you give Vooch the basketball if there's a free safety that's playing over there? Like, that's not how it's supposed to work. So it just frustrates me because it's like, that's not a time to give Vooch the basketball in the post. Like, Vooch got cut off weak on top side, and then weak side help is coming. Like, you're not supposed to give him the ball there at that time. So I just don't understand it. Like, again, not trying to like flame Stacey King. I'm just pointing it out just because, like, everyone's going to be, a lot of people are going to be thinking, well, the Bulls failed to give Vooch the basketball down the stretch, hence why they struggled so much. No, what happened down the stretch is that they decided to try to continuously force the ball into Vooch. That wasn't there, and so because that wasn't there as your main option, then it's on the others to go out and make a play, right? So they didn't do that, though, obviously. Like, the other guys weren't doing that consistently enough to go out and like make a play off of it, okay? I also, again, I don't think Vooch should be your first option down the stretch. I think in crunch time, your first option should probably be the pick and roll with Vooch at the top of the key. And if you want to move away from that because they're doubling off of that or something, then you run someone else in the pick and roll. So you put Vooch baseline or in the corner, and you have someone else run pick and roll instead. So maybe instead it's Kobe White and Patrick Williams setting the screen, okay? Like, that's how, in my opinion, it should be run down the stretch. I think isolation is a fine thing to go to down the stretch. I know you don't have Zach, though, so I think isolation is maybe a little bit less of an option with this team. But at the bare minimum, though, you should be still, if you have this lineup out there, you should still be trying to do the drive and kick, which is what the Bulls' offense has been all season long. Which, just because it's crunch time, just does not mean that you should be suddenly, hey, we got to slow down and get away from what we've been doing all year long. No, you need to continue playing the way you've been playing. which is your drive and kick game and trying to get 3-point shots off the drive and kick situations, which you've been getting off the pick and roll. So yeah, it just bothers me just how they ran it down a stretch, and it just bothers me what Stacey King has been saying. And I don't know why this has gotten to me more than ever. Like in the last 3 years, like Stacey King in the last 3 years has like made me upset more often than not when I listen to him on broadcast. I don't know if you guys also heard, by the way, that Stacey King said that the Raptors are building around RJ Barrett at the top of the broadcast. So I was just like, what the hell? Like that's not correct. That's like you're not building around RJ Barrett. You're building with RJ Barrett, but you're building around Scotty Barnes. Like this Raptors team is not building around RJ Barrett. Okay, let's make that clear. But I think that's just common knowledge. Like I don't think that's like something that we need to debate. Like if it's debatable, sure, but just yeah, that like pissed me off when I heard that. Yeah. Oh my, Harden 24 point first quarter, 5 3-point minute. Jesus. Yeah, Harden still got it. What's going on, Rob? Appreciate you being here. Yeah, great. Vooch has been stealing his man in the post way bar. He has, yeah. Vooch, like I want to make that clear also because like I blame Vooch a little bit in this breakdown. I think Vooch this year has done a much better job in terms of sealing his man down low. He has had many issues in the past, especially on the Bulls, of sealing his man. And that's the reason why I feel like a lot of times when Stacey's like, give him the ball, and it's like he's not open because he didn't seal his man. Like why would I give it to him when the guy that's been guarding him that he's attempting to seal has like full reign right now? Like he has full freedom. But I think overall this year, Vooch has done a much better job of sealing his man, especially under the basket and getting those easy points like right at the rim. It's just that in these specific clips here, you see that Vooch isn't doing a good job of sealing his man. He's getting caught where the players are getting away from him. And you're seeing that like, oh, well, like Stacey King's like, oh, he's open. And he's like, he's not open. Like the first clip I showed you guys, like the guy got away from Vooch's seal and he was ready to seal the ball immediately, right? We saw it happen. On this play, we saw that Vooch, the guy got away from his seal initially, and then there's a weak side help coming. So again, he's not open, but Vooch didn't seal him properly. So yeah. I'm just upset overall just with how that's just talked about at the end of the day. Alonzo Mint's going up to the close 24 last pot too, so I know you also mentioned. Yeah, Rob, I'm shocked that they even allowed him to play 24. I wouldn't personally keep doing that. I would just be cautious with him, but it's great that he was able to do it. Honestly, he didn't get a chance to defend it well. I agree. Which the Raptors have always done that. Like the Raptors have always been a good team, no matter who's been coaching, no matter who's been there. That they play smaller, like they don't have maybe a traditional big man out there, but they are very good at guarding the post. They have so much length everywhere that they can effectively guard the post without having big size. So it's just a hard thing to go to against the Raptors. Yeah, the help, they don't realize it's there, and Vooch can't jump as high to receive the ball on certain lob passes. Well, even if, let's say, for example, Vooch decided, like, oh, I'm going to come out here, the defense has done its job, because then you force Vucevic from being, like, out, like, from, like, 12 feet to now he's at, like, 16, where he's less efficient, right? So even at that point, in my opinion, it's not worth it, because then he'd have to, like, do, like, at bare minimum 3 crab dribbles to get back towards the paint. So the defense, no matter what, did its job, where it's like, hey, that's not worth it at the end of the day. You need to run the pick and roll instead. Julian Toro passed him. He threw it late because the defender had arm up initially, which is why I like to see him jump past it. And, well, I still don't think Vooch had full control over his man, though. So I still think even if he jumped past it in, it's still a steal. So, yeah. They say super entertaining, but he's a little biased towards being big man. He is. I understand it. Like, he was a big man in his day. I understand Stacey King will never change about that. It's just odd. Yeah. He also calls Julian Justin every game, drives me crazy. He does do that, bro. He does call Julian Phillips Justin Phillips every single game. And it's just like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, how are we messing up players' names? And it's the local broadcast. Like, I understand if it's a national broadcast, you know, we've seen Kevin Harlan mess up players' names. Like, even, I remember he called Talon Hunter Tucker once. Like, I understand that. But we're talking about the local broadcast. This is your team that you watch all 82 games of. Like, you can't be messing up your own players' names. That's insane. Yeah, Duarte is Daughtry. Yeah, or Daughtry. Like it's insane that he messes up guys' names so consistently. And like I'm not a person that has ever had to like. I mean, it is weird. Like I've heard people call me weird names. Like it's like my name is Duncan. And you would think that's not hard to mess up, but I've had people call me Duncan. I've had people call me like I guess the funny one was always Dinkin, which is a funny joke with one of my friends. But yeah, I don't have that issue though where it's like my name is that hard. And so I can like I had a friend growing up, his name was Venkata. So like no, but if you look at the spelling, no one knows how to say it. And like I can understand the frustration though. It's like, you know, you get your name, like your name's called or said wrong every single time. But I just think at the end of the day though, especially if it's your own team that you're gonna be covering all 82 games of, which the Chicago Sports Network is pretty much, like you should, out of respect, make sure that you have guys' names correctly. Okay, like Stacey apparently, as he says on his "Give Me the Hot Sauce" podcast, he talks to the guys in the locker room all the time. But if I were to go into that locker room, I would want to make sure that if I call someone over, that I actually have their name correctly. Okay, like I don't just respect. Like if I'm gonna take up some of your time, I want to make sure that hey, I have your name correctly. Like if he goes into that locker room and actually calls Julian Phillips Justin, that's insane. Like come on, bro. Out of respect, like let's actually make sure it's right. Like if Stacey has that like clip that where he says like Giannis Antetokounmpo, where he's like Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it's just like it's stupid, but just because he didn't actually like give like an actual try. I understand that a lot of people at the time didn't know how to say Antetokounmpo. Like I didn't know how to say it either. But it's just so frustrating when it's like, bro, like you're a person that people look up to. You're respected a lot around this organization. But let's actually make sure that you respect these players, and you don't just say Justin Phillips every single game. Like, come on. Let's actually be respectful. And yeah, by the way, it's Chris Duarte, not Doherty or whatever he says. Yeah. Again, if he's like coming in and it's like he can't say certain names that aren't on the Bulls or whatever, that's like I can understand it. But it's just that he needs to make sure that the guys on the team are said correctly, that on the Bulls specifically. Yeah. Yeah, he says some questionable things at times. Maybe he's trolling. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I did think I don't know how long Stacey King has left in terms of his broadcast career. Like he seems to always be like up and very cheerful and everything. So I think that he'll have many years left, but I wouldn't be shocked though if like some other person is like, hey, I would love to be the color commentator for the Bulls. Like, as Stacey, takes a step back, but we'll see. If you got a higher vertical, I think guys would be willing to throw that pass in there because he can have more leeway. I mean, I think yeah, that would help in terms of Vooch having higher vertical, maybe. Dick definitely took a step this year, it looks like, or can I say he grew? Oh my god. That's the third one. Or was this maybe the second one? But that's at least the second Dick joke that we had today. Yeah. He got JP Justin a couple times last year. I figured it was a slip because of Fields, but that's just not an excuse anymore. No, it's not an excuse. Like it's just straight up not an excuse anymore. Like, for example, like I know Duncan's not that common, and I'm Asian, so it's like you don't expect an Asian to be called Duncan. Like for whatever reason, people have called me Derek a lot. But I've made it, like I've corrected them pretty quickly. I'm like, hey, like I'm Duncan. Like let's make sure it's right, and they've done it. Like I do appreciate that. So Julian and Justin, they're not hard to say. I know they both start with J, but it's like you can't be messing that up. Like this is this is the second year for Julian Phillips on the team, like, or maybe it's third year. Honestly, I don't remember. I think it's the second year though. But yeah, it's like, come on, bro. Like, let's just be better. Reggie, I was just about to bring in the time you messed up. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. If you guys haven't, let me pull this clip up because this is insane what he says. It's funny. Like, I can understand how funny it is, which I understand he was trying to be funny, but it's just also just like, I think just out of respect, you should just try to say everyone's names, right? Like, even if you get it wrong, I think you should just at least try. Yeah. Like, here, it's not the official broadcast, but here, this is a clip of basically. Yeah, I'll replay. Yeah, like he goes Giannis Rumbo, like, bro, like, come on. I wish I could find like the actual broadcast. I don't know why I can't find the actual, like, because like you can like find the time as like the actual broadcast. It's not on YouTube, I guess, but yeah, whatever. It's just whatever. I'll get off this topic. I know I've stayed on it for long enough. Yeah, Chris Doherty. Yeah, that when I literally I was yelling at the TV when the broadcast started, and he's like, yeah, and like they previewed RJ Barrett, and they're just like, yeah, so like the Raptors are building around RJ Barrett. I'm just like, what? Like, where did you get this info from? Like, who told you this lie? Like, are they building with RJ Barrett? Yeah, I think that the Raptors are building with RJ Barrett. I think he's like a piece to kind of work with, but I just when it comes to, like, again, general knowledge of the NBA, like, I don't think he needs to have like, knowledge of every single team of the NBA, but I think it's pretty common knowledge right now that like they're building around Scotty Barnes. They're not building around RJ Barrett. Like, RJ is going to be a piece of the future, but they're not building around RJ Barrett. Like, what? Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'll get off the topic. I'm done officially. Sorry. So yeah, I'm officially done. But yeah. All right, music's back on here. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, I'm really quickly. I'm checking Twitter. I'm not gonna pull it on my main screen because throwing Twitter is on stream is scary, and it's not my fault. I'm not seeing anything. So yeah. Nothing. Yeah, in terms of what I'm seeing from, or nothing else from about Giddy. So yeah. Looks like a lot of the beat writers didn't head up to the trip to Toronto, which I don't blame them. Why would you go to Toronto this time of year? Sure, it's a great place. I know a lot of people talk about Toronto very highly, but I would not go to Toronto this time of year with how cold it is. I'm a person that can bear the cold. Okay. Update on the Bears game. Bears lost 30 to 12. They're now 4-10 this season. They're on a what now? 8-game losing streak. So yeah. Appreciate y'all that decided to not watch the Bears game, instead decided to watch me instead. So I do appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that for me. Yeah, I can understand why if you were watching the Bears game, but also just, it's like, why would you watch the Bears right now? It's hell. Chicago sports is in hell at the moment. Yeah. All right. Anything else that we want to talk about from this game overall? Bulls pulled it out, so good job. I think the offense in like the first and third quarters was humming. Bad last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter was pretty bad. The second quarter was pretty awful in terms of the offense. Just turnovers that were just bad. I can live with it overall. 3-pointers, they put up 40, which is good. 33 assists, which is good. Bulls had 11 steals, which is more than their typical, which is good. So some level of defense, obviously, which is better than we've been seeing recently. So that's good to see. If you're not aware, the Bulls are down here in terms of steals per game, which is kind of crazy because the Boston Celtics are also down here, which is not what I expected. So yeah, that's kind of other stuff from this game overall. Struggle-ish game for Io. 5 of 15, I believe he was. So Io's been, so far as a starter, has been really, really good. Like, I mean, his splits have been pretty incredible as a starter. He just hasn't been that good off the bench for whatever reason, in terms of efficiency. So this is now, I think, updated. But like, I mean, even with tonight's kind of poorish game, I mean, 55% from the field and 37% from three compared to 44% and 26.5. Like, he's just been better as a starter. So a little bit odd to see that he didn't have that good of a game in terms of efficiency. Chloe still struggled again in terms of efficiency. He hit threes though, and he got to the free throw line, which is good. And we already talked about Giddey. So, yeah, kind of just this game overall. Now, moving forward, so it's going to be an interesting time this week, because there is going to be a game tomorrow, and there's one game tomorrow, which is that's the NBA in-season tournament championship game. This game, if you're not aware of how this works, I'm sure you guys are aware. Just to recap, this game is a game that does not count towards the regular season standings. So this is not like an extra win or loss for the team. This is just a separate game. Bucks versus Thunder in Las Vegas. Winner gets $500K. We'll see who wins this game. My guess is probably the Thunder. I think the Thunder just have been so good. But I will say Giannis has been balling. So shocking that the Bucks are even here. I mean, we've been talking about the Bucks struggles all season long, and that fact that they're even here is crazy. So I guess Doc Rivers finally decided, hey, I gotta actually coach. But Giannis literally put on the Superman cape and just kind of willed this team to the spot. So good job, Giannis, at the end of the day. But this is what is like the 83rd game of the year for them, right? So this does not count towards like the regular season points or averages. Does not count towards the standings. This is just this is not an exhibition game because it's obviously a very important game. I just kind of say it's like an extra playoff game, because obviously playoffs don't count towards regular season at all. So it's just a playoff game in the middle of the season. We'll see who wins it. Everyone should be tuning into this. I know ratings are down, but yeah, everyone should be tuning into it at the end of the day. So Wednesday, there are no games Wednesday, and it's just because that you can't schedule anybody for the next day because we don't know who the two teams are going to be in the NBA Cup championship, right? So you can't schedule any games the next day. So we're going to have no games on Wednesday, which is going to be weird to kind of have happen, but also no football that day. So yeah, good luck trying to find out something to watch Wednesday night. Yeah, no games on Wednesday. The Bulls then return on Thursday, right? Yeah, they return on Thursday. So the Bulls are going to be in Boston on Thursday. This is going to be a very rough matchup because this is the Boston Celtics at home. Most teams lose to the Celtics at home anyway, so I don't expect the Bulls to go in there and win. We'll see if Zach plays, assuming Giddey is going to be out. So, yeah, Bulls going to be underhanded, undermanned, excuse me. Shorthanded, that's what I meant. Sorry, that was awful by me, combining multiple words. So yeah, I think that this is gonna be rough for the Bulls, so that is that. Then so off day Friday for the Bulls, and then the Bulls played the Boston Celtics again on Sunday, right? Or Saturday, excuse me, it was Saturday. So the Bulls go to TD Garden, and then they fly back home to face the Boston Celtics again. So I'm expecting just 2 losses in a row coming for the Bulls, especially the one in Boston. The Bulls are definitely going to lose the one in Boston. We'll see what happens with the one at home, but this Boston team has just been so good. Bulls then play again on Monday against, I think, Bucks. So this is the Bucks. So it's just a rough stretch moving forward, because then the Bulls play then Atlanta on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they play in Atlanta on Thursday, and then they come back home to face the Bucks again. So you're facing the Bucks and Celtics in the next 6 games twice for each team, which is just insane. So yeah, that'll be fun. I guess in the next 5 games or whatever. So yeah, next 5 games you have 4 against either the Bucks or the Celtics. Not fun. We'll see how that goes for the Bulls. I honestly I wouldn't be shocked if the Bulls lose all 5. The winnable game, in my opinion, is probably the Atlanta game. I think, if I'm not, I'll have to look. I think actually, no, they don't. So yeah, we'll see about the Atlanta game, honestly. But yeah, that I don't know about that one. And I don't think the Celtics. Yeah, so like everyone's gonna be fresh for each game. So yeah, so this is the Celtics game. Everyone's fresh, so it's not like the Celtics are gonna be coming off a back-to-back, and I don't think the Bucks will be either, if I'm not mistaken. So there's the Celtics game, and then Monday is Bucks. So unless the Bucks are not playing this day, so unless the Bucks play Friday, which they don't. So yeah, everyone's just gonna be fresh. So I think this is gonna be a really rough stretch coming up here for the Bulls. So even if Zach is back, I just think it's gonna be like a really rough stretch at the end of the day. Sorry, let me catch up on chat here. 4 or 5 for 3 for Kama Matas. JP Smith would have been 5 or 6 if Julian didn't step out of bounds on one. Yeah, that is true. Julian did step out of bounds on the one he drained from the corner. So yeah, if you look up any stats for him in the half-court offense specifically, he's granted break. Wondering, besides 3, does he have some type of attack? Get him going full speed with more space. He's pretty good at picking the ball at times. So there really isn't much I can like kind of do in terms of like half-court efficiency with Io. The best I can do though for you is like we can like go over like his scoring, his the way he kind of like shoots overall. This is still not great though. Like I can just like show you his percentages from like certain spots of the field, which by the way, his finishing is back to where it should be, which is very high up in the 60s. So this is good. Restricted area is now back to 69%, which is good. And we can like do this. Now, the one thing I can also do for you is I can go to player stats, and then we can go to play type, and then we can go to transition, which is so if you're not aware, Zach LaVine is one of the best players in transition. Who would have thought? So there's that. Hold on, let me just refresh it. Nope, that's not cool. Okay. By frequency, I really don't know how. Okay, I guess I go by points per game. So yeah, so LaVine's one of the best players in transition. He's in the 89th or 88th percentile. 1.37 points per possession in transition, which is fantastic. So there's that. That's not shocking. But what we can do, which is good, is that we're able to filter it by team, and we just type in CHI, and we can see everybody's points in transition. So Io overall is similar to Kobe in transition, so about 57th percentile. So he does do a lot more than Kobe in terms of transition opportunities. So yeah, like there is a lot from Io that does come off of transition stuff at the end of the day. In terms of just being able to like look up half court stats for Io, it's kind of tough. It's not exactly easy to kind of just look at. Sorry, where are we? Monday, right? Yeah. But I'll try to figure out a way maybe that can like kind of help. The only thing I can really think of is just like I go like splits and then go to like scoring and like no, that's not even that. We'll just maybe tracking, and it's like shots dashboard. Hello? Really? Are we not able to get this yet? No, okay, there we go. Okay, so there's also this where it's like, okay, how good is he off of like either one dribble or two dribbles or no dribbles, right? Io's efficiency actually is not as good as he is when he dribbles more, which means that this is probably like fast break opportunities or just layups, right? When he dribbles a lot. He's very good off one dribble though, so there's that. Shot clock. So if you want to look at like how early he shoots and like his efficiency from that, like early in the shot clock, 53, very early. We're talking about 58%. Early, also like 18 to 15 is also early, 53%. But it does go down as like the later in the shot clock it goes. So there's that to kind of look at. And then just overall, like how he gets his shots, right? Catch and shoot is 36% of his shots right now. He's shooting 41% overall, 40% from three, which is pretty solid, right? Catch and shoot, 3-point shooter. Pull-up shots, he's not shooting that great or it's less from three, but it's a pretty solid percentage. This could go up a little bit more. Less than 10 feet though, he is shooting 58% from the field, which is good. Could still go up, but that's also pretty solid. But overall though, it's kind of hard to be like, oh, what's only half court at the end of the day. Yeah, basically went over this. Grace, who's ever brutal next 14 game stretch. I see the Bulls easily passing them in standings. I don't know, bro. I think the Bulls are about to go on a 5-game losing streak, honestly. Pacers are just a better team, so I'm gonna trust that they'll be fine. So yeah, we're not being Boston. I know we played Boston well in the cup. We need help to repeat that. Yeah, like we need help to repeat it, and then Zach also had like a hell of a game. So like, yeah. We need those things to all repeat itself. Who do you think our best bench player has been lately, Zoe or THT? I think overall it's been Zoe, probably. I think Zoe has been really good. Just because like everything he does defensively has just been great. So yeah, I'll go with Zoe. Even with how hard the next 5 games are for the Bulls, there's still 28th in strength of schedule opponents left. Once February passes, that's when they'll probably be like top 10 because March is going to be really tough. Yeah. That's gonna be like, I do think that the Bulls are gonna have we'll see about January. That's gonna be interesting to watch. Here, so if you guys are wondering, when I predicted the Bulls record coming into the year, so I went through like each month and like I made a prediction of like, okay, so I think they're gonna win this many games this month. Okay, so so in the month of October, I thought that they're gonna go 1-5. Or sorry, 1-4. So we'll just, I'll just go to this for you, just so we can look at it. So, when we go to schedule, okay, and we're gonna go start a regular season. So I thought in the month of October they would go 1-4. They went 3-2. So obviously a much better start to the year. But then in the month of November, I had them going 5-11. And if you actually count the month of November, okay, they actually went 5-11. They went, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they legitimately went 5-11. In the month of December, I had the Bulls going 3-7, so they've already surpassed that. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. They've already had 4 wins. Now, here's the thing, though. I think that they can probably lose all these games here. So they could lose all these games, and then Charlotte is probably winnable, but it matters if LaMelo is playing or not. But yeah, I can see them, losing these next 5 games here. So, at the end of the day, though, it'd be a better record than I had them at. Even if they lose it. Wait, that's not correct, is it? Oh, sorry, I forgot. So yeah, I forgot that the play-in, the extra, the in-season tournament stuff was not calculated for this. So yeah, I had the so the 2 games that got scheduled for the Bulls for the in-season tournament was this Charlotte game and then this Toronto game, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is that how it was? I think that's how it was. Hold on, let me just double check that. But either way, though, so in the month of December, though, because I had the Bulls winning at least one of the extra 2 games that they would get scheduled for the in-season tournament. So in total month of December, I had them going 4-8. So right now they're at 4, so that they've already hit that number. Again, though, they could lose their next 5 and then maybe they end with the 5th win, but that would be the record. Now, come January, okay, January is going to be interesting because that's going to be it's a lot of games in a row, like, you know, not back to backs necessarily, but just it's like you're playing every other day. A lot of games, and Bulls are gonna be more at home though, so I guess that's gonna help. I'm going 6-10. But it's 16 games in January, bro. Like, that's 16 games out of a 31-day month. Like, that's so much. Which they did that in November, and we saw how grueling that was in November. So I just don't have much faith. Now, come February, this is going to be the interesting one, because, like, I think that in February there are a lot of games where you're probably just going to straight up lose them, and then there's also games like, for example, like Toronto and I guess maybe Philly this year, but then also maybe Detroit, where like you could just win these games. In my prediction though, I had in February, so a reminder, I had the Bulls going 31-51 this year, but in my prediction I had them going 5-6 in February, so I had them basically going 500 in February. But that was thinking that the Pistons were going to be absolute garbage this year. So that's just like, you know, now suddenly it's like the Pistons maybe aren't exactly garbage, so instead of you winning maybe all 3 games against Detroit, you maybe only win 2 or 1. So it's not like an easy thing, but not to mention then, oh, hey, the Golden State Warriors are better than people thought. The Heat are, I guess, worse, but, you know, maybe Philly's a team you can beat. So it'll be interesting. But in my opinion, the month of March is hell for the Bulls, okay? Month of March is serious, just hell. Indiana and Cleveland, Miami, Indiana, Orlando, I think those are all losable. Brooklyn, I think that's a winnable game. Houston, losable. Utah is winnable. But then after that, I think you lose every single game. Theoretically should lose every single game after that. I think the month of March is the worst month for the Bulls, just due to how everything is panning out in terms of schedule and teams that you're going to play. But then not to mention, it's also then crunch time for playoff teams. So every single game seriously matters for teams in March. And so, like, I mean, we're going to just be assuming that Indiana, Cleveland, Orlando are all going to be trying to fight for playoff teams. But this is going to be the rough month, in my opinion. I had the Bulls going 3-12 in March. So, yeah. We'll see how that goes. April, I had them going 4-3 in April, because you have Charlotte, you have Portland, and Washington. So, should be a little bit easier. If you had to keep Zoe or THC as a bench guard going forward, who would you prefer? Ignoring contract / trade value? Oh, okay. Okay, so that's an interesting question, AV Breeze, because like if you allow me to factor in contract and trade value, and also just knowing how much each player is going to be getting paid, I would, and also then factoring in age, which I know you didn't mention that. If I factored in everything, then I would pick THT. If I'm able to ignore the contract and able to ignore trade value, then I'm picking Lonzo, because Lonzo's going to cost more, right? But just having that really good 3-point shooter and that really good passer is kind of nice for a young team. A guy that you can rely on defensively, and he's also a reliable 3-point shooter, and you know, can defend multiple positions when he's right. Only concern is obviously health. So if I factor in everything, right, like if I factor in the contract, trade value, age, health, and everything, I'm picking THT just because I think with THT being younger, healthier, and I know he's gonna be cheaper, I would just pick him, because then I think that he'll either have more value moving forward, or he's just gonna be cheaper for the Bulls, so it's a better return of investment for what they would pay either one of these guys. But yeah, if I don't have to factor in the contract and the trade stuff, then I would keep Lonzo. If I'm able to, obviously, that's the big question, is like what's gonna happen with Lonzo. Which month has most amount of under 500 teams? March has least amount. Oh yeah, it's definitely March is like yeah. End of January tougher than early and mid. I think that's correct. Yeah, for sure. That's why going into the season is not as relevant as when the season already starts. The predictions. Oh, I understand that. I just wanted to like look at things still. Like I wrote that down still just to be like kind of looking at it. So like I actually got the November month like fully correct. Like literally like so there was obviously like some weird wins. Like the New York win was not on my radar. But then where was it? Yeah, but the Utah loss was not on my radar, right? So, I predicted the month of November completely correctly. I was like 5-11, but they got the New York win, which is not expected, and they won against Atlanta twice, which I had them not winning against them twice. But then we lost to Utah out of it, so that wasn't. I didn't expect that. So like the win against New York didn't help. In the end, and I think I had them also winning maybe against Brooklyn, but then you lose to Brooklyn too. So yeah, it's like it's how the NBA season works, obviously, but yeah, like it makes sense that why they went 5-11 at the end of the day. They've been better than what I thought in February, or sorry, in December. But I do think that come later in the year, it's going to be a lot harder than we thought. Moving forward, so like for now it's fine, but moving forward it's gonna be harder. I said 32 wins all year. My prediction still hasn't changed. Yeah, so I said 31. Yeah, I think that's just a proper amount. I know that it's like, oh, we're only 3 games under 500. Like I'm telling you right now, that's gonna go up higher in terms of like being under 500. How big of the gap is? It's probably gonna go up to 4 or 5 in the next coming days. Consistently, maybe even 6, honestly. That's a tough question. It is a tough question, obviously, what AV Breeze asked. But I mean, reminders. So like I want to just make this clear because like a lot of people think Taylor Horton Tucker's like played in the league like forever. He hasn't. Like it just seems like he's played in the league forever. THT is only 24, so like it's not like this dude's like old. He's just that he's played on a LeBron James team, so everyone's like, oh my god, he's been around the league. He's only been on 3 teams in his career, which is the Lakers and then Utah, and then now in Chicago, which I think is much happier in Chicago, even though he's not playing as much. So, yeah, I think that at the end of the day, it's like. Again, if I don't have to worry about contract, like money and everything, then I'm picking THT. Like I'm picking, sorry, if I don't have to worry about contract and trade value, I'm picking Lonzo. But because that's part of just the equation of always how I look at things, I'm picking THT. He's impressed me. Like he is honestly impressed the crap out of me this year. Just did not expect him to shoot this well. I know he came into today shooting like 500 for 50% from 3, which like that's not going to continue. But he's shown a better 3-point shot than I thought. His handles are better than I thought. His finishing is better than I thought. And with a longer wingspan, which like he has like a 7'2" wingspan, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's something that I think the Bulls could really use moving forward. And his ball handling is just better than I thought. With it having a longer wingspan helps with your ball handling. But I guess it should help. Yeah, so THT has a 7'1" wingspan, which is crazy because he's only 6'4". In terms of what he's measured at, he's only 6'4". So he's 6'4", but has a 7'1" wingspan. It's just insane. All right, so moving forward here. So the Bulls do not play again until Thursday. So a reminder, there is the NBA Cup tomorrow, which is I think we should all tune in for it. I won't lie, I don't like the fact that it's in Vegas. I kind of just agree that it should not be in Vegas. I think Vegas needs an NBA team moving forward, but I don't like that it's in Vegas. I honestly think that it should be at like either one of the teams' home courts, but it's just like I don't know how you decide because it's not like because like right now both the Bucks and the Thunder are undefeated in the playoffs of the in-season tournament, right? So I don't know how you decide it. I guess you could decide it on like who has better record right now. So like obviously if we did off best record right now, the Thunder would get it. But let's say for somehow, some way that both teams are tied in record, like I don't know how I would feel about that. Not to mention then, like let's say both teams are the 1 seed in their conference. Like how does that work? So, yeah, it's rough. Like I think it honestly should be at like one of the teams' home courts. I think that would be best, but I know that's very hard to do with how it's kind of formatted. But I'm just not digging it in Vegas, bro. I think the crowd is dead. Like I don't think the crowd wants to be there. Like I went to the Summer League in Vegas, and I know it was like Victor Wembanyama Summer League, but even when Wembanyama wasn't playing, like the cheers were louder when we saw like a cool play at Summer League than the cheers were during the in-season tournament matchups. Like when Giannis got that block, you would think that everyone's going insane, but yet no one, like the crowd just seemed dead there. And it's like, yeah, like no one's gonna go insane because it's like no one's from Milwaukee over there. Like, so I don't know. I just think that it's gonna NBA needs to consider having it at least at one of the team's home courts. I think that will bring more attention to it. I obviously the owners would be all for it because it would be an extra game that they get to sell tickets for. So don't think it'd be that hard to do. I just don't know how you figure out who gets home court advantage at the end of the day. But it's always funny how the numbers are right back to the mean. Yeah, for sure. Play beat some good teams, but we haven't seen the ability to beat a really, really good team yet. So until then, not much to get excited about. Oh, for sure. Yeah. TG helps my case for the Chicago hometown player boost being real. We don't talk about Carter. Yeah, we don't talk about Carter. I think honestly though, just THC just says like he's just gotten better. Like he's improved his game. He came into the league at 19, which for some reason people think he came into the league at like 23. Like I don't know why people think that THT came into the league at like 23. So it's like, oh, he should be like 27 right now. He's not. He came into the league at 19. So I don't know why the people keep forgetting that. But I think he's just improved his game, honestly. I think the side of options, I think he would come back, which was one of the people thinking that. But I was just looking at technology development over the years. It exponential sometimes it is. But what? Oh, yeah. Vegas crowds would have been disappointing. They would have maybe popped more for the Cali teams / stars. It definitely would have popped for the Cali teams. It's just that, like, look, bro. I think Giannis and Shea, like, those are two of the biggest stars there are. Like, it's not like these guys are just like nobodies. Like, these are legitimate MVP candidates. Like, these are major stars in the NBA. So, like, I'm aware it's not the Steph Currys and the LeBron Jameses of the world, right? But, like, if we're talking about, like, oh, they didn't have enough stardom there, like, they have Giannis, who's a 2-time MVP, who's won a ring and a Finals MVP, and is having an MVP caliber season right now. And Shea, who is also having an MVP caliber season and is leading the #1 team in the West. It just so happens, though, that both teams are smaller market teams, or like smaller-ish market teams. Like Milwaukee's pretty big, but it's like that's the problem all of a sudden. And this is the marketing issue in the NBA. They wonder why ratings are down. It's like, these guys are having hell of a seasons, but yet it seems like no one's going to be talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on ESPN constantly, or they're not talking about how Giannis is having like a great year. Like, there are moments, obviously. I'm not saying that they don't talk about him, but like they you know, I don't know if you guys saw, but like the Chuck clip that was going around where he's like, he just basically said like the Houston Rockets don't know how to win, and yet they came into that game against the Warriors where they beat them by 1. But they like the Rockets came in as the second team in the West with the second best defensive rating in the league. Like, Chuck just says, though, it's just like, nah, they don't know how to win. We shouldn't be watching them. Like, we don't care. Like, that's why ratings are down. Like, I just, that's the reason why I don't know why people don't understand that. You wonder why ratings are down? It's because the people you have on television that are supposed to be getting excited about the games, they don't watch the games, and they just are like, nah, we shouldn't care about this team because it's not LeBron James or Steph Curry. Like, that sucks. Like, no wonder why no one wants to watch these games, because you have Charles Barkley of all people saying the Rockets aren't interesting. They're not that good. Like, bro, that's awful. That is straight up just awful. Hence why I've been very critical of when you're hiring former players who don't have any media experience, and yet they're the ones being hired by ESPN constantly. I just think inside the NBA, as much as I love inside the NBA, and I've loved them for many, many years, I just think that they're just kind of checked out because they know that the changes are coming. I'm aware of the transition that inside the NBA has been going to ESPN. But I'm telling you right now, Ernie Johnson's obviously not going. And I think Chuck is actually like legit about retiring after this year. So you're already missing half of the team. I think Kenny Smith has a decent chance of going, but I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't go either. And I think Shaq's not going to go because he said he's never going to work for ESPN in his life. So you're going to probably be missing at bare minimum 3 out of the 4 people. And they already know that this is their last year. So why would they be, actively trying to give good analysis this year, because they're already checked out? Which sucks, because that's the reason why the ratings suck right now, because you have a nationally televised broadcast team that just is kind of saying like, we don't care right now, which sucks, because their jobs are coming to an end. ESPN though, they're hired. They keep on guys like Kendrick Perkins. Like, I don't need Kendrick Perkins around. Like, no wonder why no one wants to watch pregame or postgame, because it's like Kendrick Perkins sucks. They also then are bringing on guys like Stephen A. Smith and Michael Wilbon to be part of their pregame and postgame. Like, I don't need that. I don't need those guys there. I would much rather listen to Zach Lowe talk, which he's no longer with ESPN anymore. But I would much rather listen to actual people that bring analysis to the team, or to the broadcast, and not listen to just some people rant, or some people that are former players who clearly don't watch the game today. If Tim Legler was was there for pregame and postgame and halftime, instead of him doing which now he's calling games, which I think is a good thing. I think Tim Legler should be calling games. But if I could clone Tim Legler and have him be doing pregame and postgame for ESPN, I guarantee you ratings would go up. But instead, though, ESPN has contracts with all these big people that are either, like Stephen A-ish, who don't know what they're talking about, or you got guys like Kendrick Perkins around who are former players, so like, oh, we got to keep him around, who don't know what they're talking about either. That, yeah, ratings suck. Like, no wonder why ratings suck is just because you keep bringing on people who don't know what they're talking about. And just because they're a former player does not mean that they should just suddenly be like, yeah, we give them rights to be on this broadcast. Not saying that every former player is bad. I think there are former players who are very good at their job, but of being, in broadcasting. But right now, though, you're seeing the problems with having guys like Kendrick Perkins sticking around, because they're not good at analysis, and they weren't even that good of a player anyway. When Ryan Hollins was around, like, that was really annoying for ESPN. So I hope that never ever happens again. So ratings are down because of that, but then also just illegal streams that are happening. We're all aware of illegal streams. Like, I don't know about you guys. Like, I'm still excited for the NBA. Like, I'm aware that people keep talking about, like, oh, it's too many threes, the product sucks. But at the end of the day, every single game changes, okay? Football has changed from 20 years ago. Baseball has since, like, seriously changed from 20 years ago, okay? Yet, their ratings keep continuing to go up. NBA, though, like, the ratings are down, and you wonder why. Like, illegal streams are off the charts right now. And so if only Adam Silver was nicer to the general public of how you can watch an NBA game, and you didn't have League Pass blocking out your own team, which is so stupid, then I think ratings would be a lot better right now. Is some of the product that probably needs to be changed? I think that specifically the officiating needs to be better, and so all the foul baiting that we see needs to go away. I think that you can bring back hand checking. I think that's fine. But like teams taking threes, I think is okay. I don't have an issue with it personally. I don't need to see more mid-range shots, honestly. I'm fine with how the offense is run in today's game. It's not like you're seeing every single team take 43s, okay? I just want to make this clear. Like for some reason everyone's like, "Oh my god, every single team shoots like 40 to 53s every night." That's not the case, okay? Like we're seeing teams still in the 30s that, you know, in terms of 3-point attempts per game. The Denver Nuggets just recently won a championship and they didn't take a lot of threes, okay? So it's not like every single the last 10 teams have all taken 45 plus 3-point attempts per game, okay? That's not the case. We're fine, okay? We're not in a horrible spot in terms of 3-point attempts per game, okay? Dallas Mavericks right now are you know, they're 21st at 3-point attempts. They're only 35. Like, okay, like we're not in a bad spot. I'm aware that everyone's like, "Oh my god, the Boston Celtics are taking 51 and they won the championship last year, so it's copycat league. You're gonna shoot more threes." It's just that the whole saying though, it's like, "Oh my god, we're having like every single team shoot 43s." That's just not the case. Okay. I think that if we got rid of the whole Embiid, Trae Young, you know, Harden and Jalen Brunson, where you like foul bait, where you pump fake, you then try to, you know, get the guy's arm and like you jump into the defender, I think that needs to go away. I think personally that going away will make things a lot better. It will give defenders a better chance of guarding guys, and it will make the product more interesting because you have better defense on the floor. But that does not mean, hey, we need to eliminate 3-point shots. I think 3-point shots are good. I'm frustrated though with how people keep talking about the NBA right now, because it's like every single team's the same. Like, I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I don't think every single team's the same. I think you look at every single team and there's a pretty major difference in where a lot of teams are. So yeah, maybe the NBA needs to bring back super teams, because apparently that was just like, that was better than with the ratings when everyone thought that was worse. But apparently that's what got everyone's attention. I don't want super teams. I think super teams are stupid. But maybe we need to bring that back, and so everyone can complain again. And yet, that's what gets the ratings, though. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to watch. I think the NBA marketing team has done a poor job, so there's that part too. So, like, I just want to make it clear, like, the reason why I think the ratings are down, which you can disagree with me, I'm not saying that I'm right. I just think that the ratings are down for many different reasons, and it has nothing to do with the product itself. I think it's legal streams are at an all-time high right now. Hence, you know, people are watching games, but they're not counted for any sort of data because they're watching illegally. I think that the lack of access to games, especially in local markets, is stupid. I think that the League Pass blocking out your own team's broadcast is ridiculous. And I don't understand that decision, which is, again, hurting ratings. I think then the people on television, like, you know, the pregame and postgame shows with like Charles Barkley and Inside the NBA, or, you know, idiots at ESPN, I think those are seriously bringing down ratings, because it's like, I don't know about you guys, like, I don't watch pregame when it's an ESPN game. I don't watch it at all. I would much rather go do something else than watch pregame for ESPN. That sort of stuff is stupid. Also, it would also help if you would be able to just start a game on time, for God's sake. Like, that would also help with ratings. Like, if a game says 7 o'clock, then start at 7 o'clock, okay? ESPN, for some reason, it's like, no, we're going to start at like 7:16. Like, it's insane. That cannot happen anymore. Please, for love of God. That needs to change. But yeah, that's ridiculous. With that. And then I think officiating needs to get better. Like, I honestly think that the officiating, if there's anything when it comes to the product that could get better, I think it's the officiating. The officiating can just be better overall. And we can see the officials not call, you know, what we would call bullshit, right? When Embiid jumps into a defender and flops and it's the foul call for him, like, that's bullshit, right? That can be taken out of the game. I think that's something that can easily be taken out of the game, and people will enjoy the game a lot more. But the whole, like, oh, we're seeing too many threes, everyone plays the same, that's not the case, okay? I just genuinely just disagree with that whole saying. Well, I didn't realize Boston was so far ahead of 3-point attempts despite basically the same field goal attempts. Yeah, Boston is ahead in terms of 3-point attempts, but they don't take more shots than others. Okay, like they take the same amount of shots as others. Okay, like as you can see here, like even teams down here in terms of 3-point attempts, like they don't shoot as many threes, they get more shots per game. Okay, like it's not like the Boston Celtics have suddenly like extremely maximized everything to the point where it's like, yeah, they're taking 100 more, or they're taking like 10 more attempts per game than every single team. Like, that's not the case. Okay, they just shoot threes. That's their identity. That is clearly their identity. They just shoot threes. They're a smaller team, right? They don't have size constantly, especially with Porzingis out. So what do? You shoot more threes. Okay, that's how the team is built. But then, you go down to the Denver Nuggets. That's not how the team is built. You don't have 3-point shooters. You have a big man, right? That's a different team. Okay. Well, I can see that 4 picks and see what it chooses to do if it has like 4 good first rounds picks this year. Yeah, I'll be interested to see. MLB TV also has blackouts for area teams. Well, I mean, yeah, that's been the issue with MLB. Has been like the blackout stuff is just stupid. MLB also has an issue. Like their ratings are going up for Shohei Ohtani, right? Which deserved. I mean, obviously Ohtani has brought so many eyes to the game and deserved. But even MLB still has issues. Like like when, for example, like this year when Paul Skeens faced Ohtani, like it was the first time they were facing off against each other. So you have this rookie of the year phenom, and then arguably one of the best players we've ever seen in the historical time in the MLB. Okay, you have a up and coming like superstar pitcher, rookie of the year, and you got phenom and Shohei Ohtani, who's not pitching this year, but he is hitting, and he's having a historical year hitting. When they were up facing each other, you would think that the MLB would have that game like nationally broadcasted. They didn't. Like MLB Network didn't cover it. MLB Network didn't change to that game just to show it. Like there's problems also with the MLB. And also why the MLB continues to get lower ratings than NFL. Like they continue to have lower ratings because they don't have broadcast that's good enough, where it's not like the good games are not broadcasted nationally. So I just like the MLB also has that stupid blackout restriction. NFL obviously is a great product, hence why everyone watches it, but the biggest thing for them is that they are on literally every single channel that you can get, whether you have a cable subscription, whether you have it just an antenna. So literally just ease of access is a good way to increase your ratings. Okay. I think the NBA going over to NBC is not a bad thing overall. I think it will help their ratings just because it's NBC and you have more access to it. Everyone will have access to it, so that'll be good for the NBA. But when you limit overall though, like with your league pass, where it's like, well, we can't watch the local market team, which is stupid. And then you also still though, even with NBC coming into the mix next year, but now you have to now you're gonna have games on Amazon as well. Like that's harder for people to watch. Like you're just gonna have lower ratings just because you're on a different subscription thing. The NFL, I'm aware, has the Thursday night game on Amazon, but it is literally free to watch on Twitch anywhere you can go. Okay, you don't need an Amazon subscription to watch the Thursday night football game. You can literally just watch it on Twitch. Okay, I'm gonna guess that the NBA is not gonna do that. They should do that, where when they switch over to Amazon, that game should just be publicly available on Twitch. No ads except for the commercials, which are general commercials, but you should just be able to watch the games on Twitch. Everybody then would be able to watch it no matter where they are, what device they're using. They'll be able to watch the game easily. Okay. But they're not going to do that. And again, ease of access is a huge thing. The MLB though, the MLB playoffs is on TBS, which is a Turner Sports Network, which not everybody has. Like, no wonder why the MLB playoffs suck is like in terms of ratings compared to other sports, is because not everyone has Turner Sports. Like, it's just facts. And also not everyone has MLB Network. Like, ease of access is a huge thing. I'm aware though that like not everybody can get on like the antenna channels, but that you would think that the NBA and MLB would do a better job of trying to get ease of access. And again, it doesn't have to just be on antenna channels. Just go on Twitch. Like, hey, go to Twitch. You're going to Amazon anyway. Just go on Twitch. It's free for everybody. Like, that's a good way to get eyes on the game. Like, broadcast the game on Twitch. That's a good way to do it. But, you know, we'll see what they do. Either way, though, look, if you're going to come here, I just want to say that I love the NBA still. Like, I understand that people are not loving the NBA as much right now, but I personally, I love it still. I'm aware people are complaining about it. I'm aware people hate it right now with what they say is like, oh my God, too many 3-point shots. But in my opinion, I still love the game. So I hope that you come here knowing that, like, I love the game still. I watch a lot of games still. I watch every Bulls game, and then I watch other games whenever I get the chance to. I don't have League Pass though, hence for many reasons. Like, I've had League Pass in previous years. It's not worth it though if I can't get the Bulls right now, because it's like I'm not going to use League Pass then if I can't get the Bulls like anywhere I go. So I just stick to the naturally broadcasted stuff to get extra games for now. But it's just, yeah, it's just frustrating because I think the NBA marketing team has just done such a shit job recently. They just think that everything has to be LeBron and Steph Curry, when in reality you have other stars in this league, and yet they're not marketed well. The marketing team has not done a good job of hyping up like other guys. Like, for example, just like recent example, how many of you guys have been keeping up with Sakari Ricochet this year? The number 1 overall pick this past year. Okay, how many of you been keeping up with him? Like, no one's keeping up with Ricochet because the NBA literally does not care about him, because he's not a Wembanyama, because he's not a Zion Williamson. Like, that's garbage by the NBA. That is straight up garbage by them. Okay, I'm not saying that like Ricochet is going to become a superstar, but that's our number 1 overall pick. You would think that guy is going to get hyped up by the NBA. The NBA just hasn't done it. They just don't care. They genuinely do not care. That's the problem with the ratings right now, because no one knows who the last number 1 overall pick was. No one cares. The NBA just doesn't give that outlet now. Like, they just don't care about the last number 1 overall pick. That's the problem with the NBA right now. That's the problem with their marketing team, and they will not admit to that that's their issue. So, yeah, that's the biggest issue with the NBA right now at the end of the day. Does have games in Apple I can't even watch. Yeah, like, that's the problem with the MLB, is that MLB, you need to have Peacock, you need to have Apple TV. Like, that's just ridiculous. You don't need to do that. And so I'm scared about the NBA going to Amazon next year, because it's like, do you need to have Prime to watch games next year? Because if you do, that is flat out ridiculous. We don't need, we shouldn't have that. Okay. I like the fact that they're going to NBC, because I think it's gonna be better than Turner. Or TNT specifically, in terms of who's gonna be able to watch games. But going to Amazon scares me. I think that's a scary idea. But I hope that things won't go to crap on it. Again, if you just broadcast it on Twitch, just like how the NFL does on Thursday night, I think it'll be fine. Because if you aren't aware, Twitch is owned by Amazon, which I think a lot of people know. So yeah, I would personally just, use the, Amazon's overall ownership with Twitch to broadcast it there. So yeah, I don't know. I'm ranting. Sorry. I appreciate y'all listening to my rant. That is gonna wrap up today's stream, though. Thank you guys for all coming out and just watching. I know, we had double sports on for Chicago tonight. So I do appreciate y'all just checking in, even when the Bears game was going on. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. It helps me out a lot. Thank you again, once again, for everyone that checked in on the stream and has watched throughout. Watch the ads. Thank you so much. Allows me to do this. So yeah, please hit the like button if you have not already. It's been a pleasure to be talking with you guys all year long. Next time we'll talk is going to be on Thursday. So the Bulls do play against Boston. It is, though, oh, actually, I forgot it's Thursday. Crap. Okay, so we'll see about Thursday. Thursday I do hang out with my guys because we watch Thursday Night Football together. So stream might not be guaranteed on Thursday, so I do apologize about that. But either way, though, I'll be seeing you the next time whenever the Bulls, or one of the times the Bulls face Boston. So if I don't see you on Thursday, I'll see you on Saturday. And so yeah, Tomorrow though, NBA Cup is tomorrow, so go watch it, please. I think it's gonna be a good matchup. So I do recommend watching it. It's already a good matchup just looking at it. So I think it'd be a fun thing to watch. I just don't like that it's in Vegas. I won't lie. But yeah, it's available. Yeah, it's ABC. So if you don't have ESPN, well, guess what? You're able to watch it with just your antenna then. And I know a lot more Bulls fans have antennas this year because we have to use antenna for Bulls games. So go watch it. I think it'll be a good game. So yeah, it'll be a fun thing to watch. All right, y'all. Thank you again. Thank you guys so much for checking in on the stream. I'm gonna go ahead and peace out though. I'll see y'all at least either Thursday or Saturday. All right. Peace.